So there's this guy in the Bible, this character that pops up in a lot of major situations. And he's kind of on the sidelines. He's never really a main character in the Bible or in the stories, but he's always right next to the action. He's always right next to the main person in the stories. And actually, the more I read through the book of Acts, I see this guy pop up all the time on the sidelines. And his name was Joseph, and actually Scripture says his name was Joseph, but people called him Barnabas. And Barnabas literally means son of encouragement. Now, how cool would it be to have a Barnabas, have this guy in your life? Whenever there is something tough going on in your life, you got Barnabas to encourage you. Maybe whenever you're feeling like you just completely bombed a school test, you got Barnabas to speak words of life into you. Whenever you maybe just got into an argument with your best friend or your parents and you're feeling like the worst friend ever, you got Barnabas there to encourage you and to speak life into you. This guy, Barnabas, shows up throughout Scripture and throughout Acts, rather, and he's always there to offer encouragement. And he was brought into these situations, I think, because he was a pretty big part. People needed him around. People enjoyed having him around because he spoke encouragement. So I want to talk about encouragement. And I want to talk about how you can be an encouragement to others and how we can also receive some encouragement. This word encouragement, it means to simply encourage, to inspire someone to courage, to attempt to persuade them, or just to simply offer help. That word, encourage, means to bring courage to someone. So when you are encouraging someone, you are actually giving them the courage to go through whatever situation is at hand. Now, I have been on the receiving end of encouragement, and probably you have too. I was working in ministry several years ago, and believe it or not, even pastors have bad days. Okay, and sometimes those bad days turn into bad weeks and turn into bad months. Maybe you can relate. Well, I was having one of those times where it just felt like everything I was doing was not working. Felt like I was a failure, and it even felt like the people that were closest to me were kind of just walking away from me a little bit. And I felt alone and isolated and just like a failure. I don't know if you've ever felt like that. I must have been wearing my emotions on my sleeve because I walked into church. It was a Sunday morning, and this church lady, this old church lady, and bless those church ladies, because she came up to me, and it was almost like she grabbed me and shook me, and she just said, "What is going on?" And she just started speaking words of life into me, so much so that my eyes started welling up with tears because I just needed to hear her encouragement. Let me tell you, my whole outlook changed for the rest of that Sunday, and it was almost what I needed to kind of get over this funk that I was in. Scripture talks about God and says that He is a God of encouragement. Romans 14:5 says this, "May the God of endurance and encouragement grant you to live in such harmony with one another and in accord with Jesus Christ." God is a God of encouragement. So get this, when we encourage people, we're actually speaking the same language as God. When we encourage people, we are saying the same things that God says. So God speaks a language of encouragement, and we can actually partner along with Him when we speak encouragement to other people. Here's the thing, encouragement provides hope for people. But our hope must be in something that is greater than our fear. Jesus is the only thing that is assuredly greater than anything we'd ever fear. So I'm going to ask you in a little bit to think of someone you can encourage. But I don't want you to just give just compliments. I want you to really think, how can I encourage this person? How can I give them hope in something that is greater than their fear? So just like Scripture says that God is a God of encouragement, there's the other side of the reality. We have an enemy who is an enemy of discouragement. Scripture says that we have an enemy that is accusing us, and that is the opposite of encouragement, right? To bring accusations against someone. So, like I said, I want you to think of someone you can encourage, but here's the deal. When you do that, when you step into that realm, you are actually engaging in spiritual warfare because there's an enemy, and his job is to discourage. His job is to accuse. So when you encourage someone in that way of putting their hope in Jesus Christ, what you're actually doing is engaging in warfare. So I want you to think about this. Is there someone in your life that you can encourage? Maybe there's someone in your life that you just know that they need encouragement. They need some words that can lift them up. And maybe they will be in the position that I was in years ago, where it was just everything in front of them was just bleak and dark and hopeless. But words of life came in and illuminated me and gave me hope. Maybe your words can do that for someone. Who can you really encourage? And I want to be honest and hit the reality too that you might be on the other side of the coin where you're watching this and you're like, man, I need some encouragement. Remember that God is a God of encouragement. So here's the other thing. If you're feeling in need of encouragement, could you bring that to God? Could you ask God and say, God, I need some encouragement today? Maybe you might be surprised at the words that come into your life from somebody around you. Maybe you'll find some encouragement. Guys, thanks for being here. I can't wait to see you soon.